because growing up in a very big culture, you know, like they call Vienna as the capital of classical music, and of course there's a big reason for it. And growing up in the place where, you know, you can pass by the houses of Mozart or Haydn like daily, that's, you know, that's something special, and that's really inspiring. And so I think if something, you know, it helped me in Vienna, it was this culture. And also I received my first violin lessons actually in Hungary.
Hello, Sebastian.
Well,
It's so great to meet you here on Zoom.
it's nice to meet you too.
Tell me, where are you based?
Oh, well, right now I'm in Hungary for a visit, but tomorrow I will go back to Vienna, where I also live here in Europe, and I also study in the USA, where I will go back next week.
Oh, I see. Okay, so so you're all over the place.
Yes.
So do you enjoy the traveling?
Oh, yes, I'm pretty much used to it. So these long planes, and also I enjoy it. I get
Okay.
used. We have to get used to it as musicians.
Yeah. But now in Hungary, do you live in Budapest, or where do you live?
Right now I'm visiting in Győr. This is very
Oh,
close to the Austrian border.
Oh, okay. So do you come from a small town?
No, I'm coming from Vienna.
Oh, you were born in Vienna.
Yeah, I was
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So, did you expect to have this type of life? Did you think that being a musician would take you all over the world?
I mean, yes, and I didn't expect it so soon, but yes, I'm very, very glad that I can travel, and I can play in many places.
Okay. So tell me, do you come from a musical family?
Yes, I do come from a musician family. From my mother's side, all of the family plays an instrument. They are
Really?
professional musicians. So yes, from my childhood, I was growing up in music. I heard music at home, and so it was very natural for me to listen to music, and that's why, of course, it was a very natural decision for me also to become a musician.
But specifically the violin, what was it about the violin that intrigued you?
So my uncle, he was a violinist. He used to play in the Vienna Volksoper. And when I was little, he used to come a lot. He unfortunately passed away since
I'm
10.
so sorry.
And he used to come to our house a lot and bring his violin. And he was also always like playing for me and playing with my grandpa. And then for me, it was just so fascinating. Like he's holding something, and it sounds beautiful. So that's why I decided that I asked my parents to get me like a little violin or something, and that's when the journey started.
Really? And how old were you when you started playing?
So when I first received my first small violin, I was 3 years old.
Really? That's so young.
But when I started to get some lessons and with some instructions, I was about 5 years old, I think.
Mm. And the rest of your family, because your brother's also a musician.
Yes.
And you have a duo together.
Yes, he's a cellist. He's 2 years older, And yes, we do have a duo since 2022. And yes, he's a cellist because he chose this instrument because of my grandpa, because he's a cellist.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yes, we saw these instruments in the family. So
So the family is a whole orchestra.
kind of.
So when you get together, you can start an orchestra. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
But let's talk about your journey now. When you, I mean, obviously you said you grew up in Vienna, so here are many universities and places to study music. So do you think that made it a little bit easier for you,
Um,
or
I
more pressure, you would think?
I think it was a little bit easier. If it was easier, then because growing up in a very big culture,
Yeah.
like they call Vienna as the capital of classical music, and of course there's a big reason for it. And growing up in the place where you can pass by the houses of Mozart or Haydn like daily, that's something special, and that's really inspiring. And so I think if something it helped me in Vienna, it was this culture. And also I received my first violin lessons actually in Hungary,
Oh,
because
okay.
because my grandparents live in Hungary. Right now I'm at their house also.
Okay.
And I received here my first violin lesson because we came here a lot often, and here was a violin teacher in the city. And I just went there when I was about 5 years old, and I started to, like, okay, how do we play this instrument? Like I see it, I know the parts and everything, but how do we actually play this? And then after I started to study in Vienna at the Musikschule. And at the same time, later on I was attending the high school in Hungary, because this was my parents' decision, because Hungary is a very great place to study music theory and solfege.
Oh,
And they
okay.
also wanted us, my brother and me, to know the language Hungarian very, very well, and to also grow up here in Hungary and also in Vienna,
Oh,
like
yeah. I
so.
can totally understand that. Yeah. And Hungarian is a very difficult language to learn
Yes,
and speak.
yes.
So the two and so you would say these having this or sort of growing up in your musical career or your musical journey in two different cultures, would you say that enriched you?
A lot, a lot. I think so, because in also like the Hungarian musical life is also very, very rich. And but in a way it's also like different traditions. We have different composers, different language, which is also very important in music. So I think it was a very, very good decision to like live and grow up in both countries. And after later on, when I was at my final year in 12th grade in high school, I started to study at the music university in Graz in the
Oh,
pre.
okay.
So I was kind of like going in a triangle. Like every week I was in Hungary, in Vienna, and Graz. And it's like, yeah.
But that's wonderful. And you also then meet different musicians. And of course, I wouldn't know, but would it be that everybody has different styles and also the different styles of teaching?
Oh yes,
Mm.
yes, and that was also very great that I like from early on. I got to know like a lot of different people, different culture, and different musicians, and also not just music, but also this cultural differences like language,
Yeah.
or like the buildings. It's so different, and this is also enriched a lot.
And I think also I've been thinking about this a lot also about that you say the buildings and the different styles of and the whole atmosphere of where you are, how that inspires artists because you're sensitive, so you pick up all these energies and things, and this is maybe why Vienna is also so popular for musicians to come and want to be here. And like you say, you walk past these houses of the great masters, and there must be some sort of energy or inspiration that you receive then from that.
Yes, that's for sure. Not to mention also the great concert halls in Vienna.
Yeah.
Also,
And
like
and you exposed to this watching other musicians as well.
oh yes, definitely.
But now America is a whole different ball game.
That's right. Yes.
So you had to, so you're studying there as well.
Yes.
Mhm. And what attracted you to go there, or why did you decide to go to America?
Because I got to know a very great teacher over there, and that was for me like an invitation that I have to go there. And I also wanted to expand my knowledge, also, not just musically, but as a human being. Like, how does it feel to live on a different continent, different culture, and different system? So yes, I'm studying there since this is my second year there. So
Okay. Now, when you're there, can you see very clearly the difference? Can you feel the difference in how the musicians there train or how they do concerts compared to Europe?
yes, yes.
And what would you say would be the biggest difference?
The biggest, I'm not sure about which is the biggest, but there is like also like in the system of training. I think in the USA, especially in this year and the first year, we had a lot of classes, and like mainly about, of course, music, but we also had one which is about just arts in like as a whole, which is very great. And also, like, of course, cultural differences between people, how they think about music, how they think about the industry. So I don't know which is the biggest difference, but
But
there's a
there
lot.
are differences. So
Yeah.
you mentioned now that you say you learn about different forms of art. How important do you now think it's that, say, musicians learn from different forms of art? Say, for example, dance or painting or other forms of art. Then,
I think it's extremely important. I think it's very important to know when, for example, we play from a certain period of time music. We have to know like what was happening there. Like other artists, like painters, sculptures, or architect. That this is very very important, because then we have like a whole picture. We can like place this music into a big context, and I think it's very important. And I was always searching for this in every piece that I'm learning, or every composer that I'm learning or studying. um, I'm always like placing in time and then researching other art forms, and also some, of course, some politics and so on. So what was happening in that time? I think
yeah,
it's
yeah, and the politics as well, because that was what went on in their minds then as well.
yes, yes,
But it's interesting that you say that about the different art forms, because I just recently spoke to a violinist who talked about painting, that she likes to paint, and that she said the stroke of the brush somehow is also musical. You know, like it's the way you do it, the way you hold the brush, the way you stroke the brush. And now, when you say this, now it all fits together for me now.
Yes.
Mhm. Now, what? So you and your brother, well, you have this duo. So where do you perform then, or do you do only perform with him, or do you do solo work as well?
I do solo work. I do other types of chamber music.
Okay.
But right now mainly with him as a duo. So we have also like a very important for us, and I think for others too, mission, which is like expanding the string duo repertoire, because we know that violin and cello duo is, we have some masterpieces like from Ravel, Kodai, like big masterpieces, but it's still, you know, it's not comparable to like string quartet repertoire or piano trio repertoire. So we wanted to make an impact on this. So that's why we created a special project for contemporary duo music. And right now I can say that it's already, this project already received more than 400 compositions from 4 continents.
Wow.
So we can see that also composers are very interested in this. So we are very, very happy that we are not alone with this, that we want to expand this repertoire, and we are trying to perform as much as we can from these pieces. We are lucky to have many times the freedom of programming these contemporary music pieces.
Mm.
So
tell me about this project. So it's something that you started, that you did you invite then composers to send you works, or how does it work?
yes, this was an open call. I think we announced it in March 2022. Yes. And after, I think, 1 month or 1.5 months, this project and also our duo has been featured in the Strad magazine, and also in various platforms like the Violin channel. And I think that's why people who read these articles, they also sent works, they also commissioned us works, and we have like an online platform for it where composers can upload it, and there is, you know, no deadline, and this is not a competition. So
Yeah.
of course we have to evaluate all these pieces, which is a lot of work with this amount of pieces, and then after we can program these pieces.
So is there a specific criteria that you have? Is it, or do you just go with the sort of feeling that you get from a piece? How do you evaluate if you're using it or not?
Do you mean when we evaluate it? How
Yeah.
do? Oh, yes. First of all, we have to play through. So we have to play the whole piece. If it's like, you know, 10 minutes or half an hour, we have to play through. And then there is no, of course, we evaluating it from like a compositional side. But also we know if we will have a concert where we play mostly, I don't know, we have a concert in Albania. So we also aim to program a piece
Okay.
which fits that context, maybe from that country, or it's kind of the same, you know, it's very complex, but we manage it somehow. It's a lot of work.
So you play classical works and then contemporary work, then you mixed the two.
Yes.
And do you do your own arrangements as well, or do you stick to what you get?
Sometimes, not so much, but sometimes we do have some own arrangements. My brother, he is also arranging some pieces, and me too, when I have some time, yes, there are some pieces which could fit for this formation, so we can do it on our own, but we mainly focus on the standard repertoire and the new pieces, which is like specially written for. And we can, with this, we can also support contemporary music, which is very important for us, because we realize that, today, like, this world is it's not so connected to contemporary music, to today's music, than it was like, before. It was.
Yeah. No, that's true. And there are so many composers with great works, and these works have to be played.
Yes.
And also, I think it's also so important to educate the audience through that, because if you just hear the same things over and over again, you don't get used to opening up for new music.
Yes.
But now tell me, Sebastian, what are the wishes for you for the future?
Well, we really want to continue our journey as a duo with my brother as much as we can, as much time as we can, and I would like to just play a lot of chamber music with friends and with new colleagues, and to teach.
Oh, okay. So you're interested in teaching?
Yes, I'm actually teaching since a few years privately, and I want to continue this.
Now, as two brothers, do you have little arguments and fights, or do you?
Well, of course, yeah.
Hit each other with a violin.
Of course, I mean, we rehearse. Of course, we are much more open, because we are brothers.
Yeah, no, I'm just
It's not like we don't have to be so polite as with other people. So, but I think this also a little bit it's speeding up the rehearsal, because we don't have to find some words to how I tell him this or that, or so we can just plain say it. But of course, these are mostly musical arguments. So how do we do it? Okay, now let's try this version. So but we enjoy this. I mean, this is a great process.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And you can be brutal when it's your brother. But just one thing also I want to ask is, how do you juggle your life? Because it's the studying and it's with the duo, and you say you also play in other ensembles as well.
I mean, I think I developed a very strict system of time managing. So I'm always planning every day of my life, and that helps me a lot. And I'm very, I stick to it, because otherwise I know it will be a chaos. So it's manageable. Sometimes it's hard, especially when, I don't know, I have a meeting with an organizer in Europe, but I'm in the US, so I have to cut time, or we have a call in Japan and I'm in the US and my brother in Europe, so we have to manage all the time which fits for everybody. So that's not so easy, but of course everything is manageable. So
yeah, if you want to do it, you can do it.
Yes.
Yeah. But Sebastian, this was so great talking to you.
Thank you very much. It was great.
It's always so fascinating for me, and if you've opened up my eyes again to many things. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I hope to meet you one day in Vienna when you're back. And
yes.
See a concert with you and your brother.
Yes.
Just tell me, what's the duo called?
It's Kodai string duo.
Okay. I'll put the link in the description of the video as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastian. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
And send my regards to your grandparents.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.